Maul Hate-Fueled is coming back with the next update. May 5th, he will be on the holotables once again for everybody to get. The problem, of course, is Darth Vader Duel's End. Let's talk about this. The good, the bad, and what you can do to maximize your chances of unlocking Maul. The wonderful people at the Swigger Events Discord server have, of course, data mined the return of Maul Hate-Fueled. We can see it right here. Maul Hate-Fueled event runs from the 5th of May at 7 PM until, well, 7 PM it will be GMT, because that's adjusted for my local time. The Brits, all right? And ends, get this, the 2nd of June, 2026. Maul's event is running for 28 days, basically. An entire month of Maul. Isn't that wonderful? Well, it would be, except for the problem that nobody can really properly farm Darth Vader Duel's End just yet. So when we talk about the Maul Web of Hate Legendary Journey event, we can see that the requirements are essentially the error units that we got during the era of the anniversary. Or era, however you want to say it. I say it error because it's easier. It rolls off the tongue and it sounds like there's something wrong, which I think is quite fitting. Anyway, we have got 6 marquee characters that we need to get to Relic 6, and as of right now, one of these units is not necessarily free-to-play farmable. Darth Vader Duel's End is only available currently through shipments, and shipments works out at about 80 crystals per shard, okay? Let's break down some of the math on that. It's going to be a little bit different for every single person that's going after Maul Hate-Fueled, because some people will have taken Darth Vader Duel's End to 4-star, or to 5-star, or maybe even to 6-star. Some people may already be at 7-star. It's hard to say. There's no one-size-fits-all. But essentially, Darth Vader Duel's End is going to be going free-to-play farmable, most likely tomorrow, Tuesday. He is due because every 2 weeks we are supposed to have one of the error units go from shipments, they'll still stay in shipments, and pop themselves into a node, right? Into a node. Last week, well, week before last, on the 15th, I want to say, we had Inquisitor Barris. She became free-to-play farmable. So if we were to just go over here and we'll look for Inquisitor Barris real quick. There she is, Inquisitor Barris. She went free-to-play farmable on the 15th, and you can see that she is on Dark Side 4C, a hard node. It's only a 12 energy hard node, and actually shares a node with Second Sister. So if you are perhaps building your way up to Inquisitor, actually there's already a Lightspeed token, a journey token for her, so you won't actually be farming this for her in particular, but you'll get some shard shop currency, I guess, right? So you can double dip. But right now, of course, if we look at Darth Vader Duel's End, you can see that he is currently only available through shipments. So when you look at, 2,000 crystals and you divide that by 25, you can see it's 80 crystals per shard. So if you are only looking to get him through weekly shipments, right, you're going to have a number of opportunities to do it. You'll have essentially 3 or 4 weeks to get it done. I'm not sure when this is refreshing. I should probably check that, right? So just multiply the number of shards that you need by 80, and you'll get a rough estimate of how many crystals you need to spend. Obviously, it could be a little bit higher because it's unlikely to be an exact round number, and maybe you might need 11 shards, but that means you're going to have to buy, 10, maybe even 25, depending on the timing for it. So what I would recommend most people do is wait to see when Darth Vader Duel's End drops on his free-to-play node. Now, I'm going to assume that CG is going to stick to their guns, and they're going to make him free-to-play farmable tomorrow. Where can he go, potentially speaking? It's going to be any node in the campaigns. So it could be light side battles, it could be dark side battles, it could be cantina battles, but it could also be fleet, okay? It could totally be a fleet node. Now, for us in particular, if CG was feeling very, very kind, they would be putting it on Cantina Battles, okay? Because Cantina Battles is the quickest way to farm when it comes to any sort of character farm outside of a shipment purchase, right? When you look at Galactic War, or you look at guild tokens and stuff like that, where you can buy like 10 or 20 shards per day. That's the easiest outside of that, but Cantina potentially can be finished in a couple of weeks. It really depends, obviously, on how many crystals you have available to refresh, because if you're doing triple refreshes, you should be able to get it done by the end of the month. Obviously, this is going to have to be adjusted for how many shards of Darth Vader you already have. If you had the episode pass, you're probably going to be in a much better position than somebody who is completely free to play and never purchased any shards of Darth Vader Duel's End whatsoever. Okay, so our best case scenario, even though it means stopping your signal data farming, is for Darth Vader Duel's End to drop on one of these nodes over here, okay, on the Cantina. If he's in the hard node, it's going to be struggle bus time, okay? If he's on light side, dark side, or fleet battles, then it's going to get hairy. When we get a brand new marquee unit to the date game, like KX Security Droid here, if you are spending no crystals whatsoever, you do still actually get some additional shards that we didn't used to get, all right? So the starting point, the worst case scenario, which I think is probably the best place for me to start this discussion, is from here, which is essentially 65 shards out of the 330 that you will need to get a 7-star Darth Vader before Maul's event returns, okay? So, 330 minus 65 shards is 265 shards. If he goes live tomorrow, you basically have 30 days-ish to try and get that done, okay? So 265 divided by 30, you need to be getting 8 shards a day. That is not going to be easy, okay? Essentially, whenever we are doing a hard node farm on, you know, a standard light side battle, dark side battle fleet, your drop rate is 33%, okay? It's 33, like, don't argue with this. It's roughly 33%. I know everybody likes to bang the drum. CG has nerfed the drop rates. They haven't. Dude, chill. Sometimes you'll get 0 shards and you're just going to have to deal with it. All right. So the drop rate is 33%, roughly, give or take, right? Which I believe works out when you're doing 5 sims. It's like 1.6 shards a day. Okay. 1.6 shards a day. And we need to be getting like 8 or 9 shards a day. So let's just say 9 shards divided by 1.65 shards. That's going to dictate how many 5 sims you're going to have to do on a daily basis. It's not pretty, guys. It's not pretty. It's like 5, which means you would need to be doing 4 or 5 refreshes of his hard node. If you are in that position, you're going to have to be going in and refreshing his energy node like 5 or 6 times a day. Now, at that point, it isn't actually efficient, in my opinion, to be refreshing the nodes. You might as well probably, well, actually, let's think about this. How much does it cost us to refresh that node? The first time is 25 crystals, right? 25 crystals to get a refresh of the node. The second time is 50, and then I believe it goes up to 100 crystals for a refresh. So you are really pushing the limits at which it is cost efficient to try and get a shard, okay? Because you're going to have to divide that crystal cost by the average shard drop rate, which is 1.65, right? So if you're doing 100 crystal refresh, right, and divide that by 1.65, your effective cost for refreshing that node to get a shard of Darth Vader's Duel's End is going to be about 60 crystals, just over 60. But you are running RNG. You could get more shards on that 5 sims, or you could get 0 shards, and then you've just thrown crystals away. So it gets to a point. It gets to a point whereby you are going to be better just going into the weekly shipments and purchasing the shards. I would say, at the very least, do the first 2 refreshes. If you are hard node farming him, do the 25 and the 50 crystal refreshes. If you are considering, or you need more shards than that, that's when you go to this weekly shipment store and try to drop the big crystals. Now, a lot of people are not going to be able to do this, and that's absolutely by design. I think, generally speaking, CG is actually being quite nice-ish about the fact that he's sticking around for a whole month, because he could be here for just a weekend, and then you'd have 0 chance of getting him, right? If you were completely free to play, you'd have 0 chance. Obviously, the delayed nature of the marquees and how long it takes for them to become free-to-play farmable is probably why they're doing this for the month. Now, I don't know if CG is just being nice because it is May 4th and they want to celebrate Star Wars and there's a new film coming out and Maul has got his Maul Shadow Lord TV series, which is actually dope, by the way. I've been really enjoying that. Really, I like Lawson and Two Boots. I think they're really cool characters. And Maul just likes to aura farm the entire episode all day long, every day. Watch it. It's good. For once, right? It's nice to have some good Star Wars content come out. Anyway, I digress. it is going to get a little bit difficult for most people to unlock Maul. Now, the other more broader aspect that you should think about is, should you unlock Maul? Okay, and I know that sounds like a weird question, right? Maul is actually a fantastic unit. He is a really, really powerful unit. Where is my Maul? Oh, this is my alt account. I was like, why is my Maul not showing up? And then I realized that this is just the alt account, and the alt account is not got Relic Maul because I haven't had the time to actually invest in this guy. It looks like I've done some mod swapping, probably for the raid. Anyway, should you unlock Maul? The answer is yes and no, okay? Maul is fantastic, but he is very heavily dependent on having a team around him to support him. You can just take him in as just Maul, and you will probably find some success. However, unless you have got a team like a Stranger Starkiller team for him to go into, or at the very least, a Seer Malicos team, so, having Seer as a leadership, preferably with her Omicron, with Maul in the team is still very, very powerful, right? And of course, that's really going to depend on where you are in the game. Like, where do you operate in GAC, in Territory War? Obviously, throwing Maul under Seer is not going to be anywhere near as powerful as Stranger Starkiller Maul, all right? It's still going to provide some value. If you don't have either of those, I would honestly say you should probably just wait. It's not going to make a difference to you if you get Maul now or in 3 months' time, when it's going to be drastically easier for you to be prepped for the Maul event, okay? It's going to give you an extra 3 months' time for you to farm up all the shards, and 3 months means you will only have to do like one crystal refresh of Darth Vader Duel's End's marquee, shard node if he's on a hard node. Just one refresh of that every single day will easily get you that Maul up to 7-star before the end of the event, okay? The closer you are on Darth Vader Duel's End, and candidly speaking, the rest of the requirements, the easier this is going to be for you and the easier the decisions should be. What is interesting is this is how we can prep ourselves for the future. When Cassian Andor becomes farmable, essentially, if we go over here to Jenny Guide and we go to Cassian Andor down here, when Cassian Andor becomes farmable, okay, so his event is about to wrap up. We've got another week left, just over a week left, 8 days and 6 hours before he disappears. We can make the assumption that he's coming back in 3 months, and his event is likely going to drop the week after the last marquee, the KX security droid, is free-to-play farmable. So we can already prep for that. Do you really want to be getting Cassian at 7-star that much, or would you rather wait for that extra 3 months? You know now, you have an idea now of how many crystals you need just for KX. We're not even talking about, have you got your Stormtrooper Luke and your Yoda and Chewie and your Asajj and your IG-90 and your Inquisitor Barriss, right? Not talking about any of those other marquees, because it's not really a heck of a lot of time for you to farm up this character to get the 7 stars, okay? But generally speaking, most people don't tend to get a brand new legendary on the first return. It's usually reserved for those sort of late/end game people that are already done farming everything else, and their exclusive focus can be on these new units. It shows how much CG is really trying to emphasize get it when it first comes round, because it's going to be very hard the second time round. Honestly, third time round is probably the best fit for everybody. That way you can, you could get Maul next time, and then time after that you can get Cassian. And you'll be all set, and in like a 6-month period. And that's really not so bad. This game is a marathon, not a sprint, right? Of course, let's reiterate as well, you are not going to be getting the rewards for Maul. The rewards that we saw the first time round, which had the Lightspeed tokens, they're not going to be featured there. You're only going to be getting the portrait and the shards for Maul. That's it. That's the only reward. And honestly, it shouldn't come as a surprise to most people. Anyway, I want to know your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. How do you feel about this new way of releasing legendary units? There is definitely good and bad. The good is people can unlock at 4 or 5-star for the legendary events really easily. Really, way easier than what we used to have. Only a year ago, when we had Jedi Master Mace Windu come to the game, you couldn't get him at 4-star and 5-star. There are still fewer unlocks for Jedi Master Mace Windu than there are for Cassian, okay? So that should give you an idea of how easy it is just to get the unlock. And honestly, these units do seem to be playable at 4 and 5-star, which I never thought I would say. Probably going to depend on the unit, on the legendary itself, and the supporting team, right? But you don't necessarily need that 7-star unless you really want to be using it in places like Rise of the Empire TB, and you want to try and maximize the performance in areas of the game like GAC and Territory War. All right. Sick. I want to know your thoughts, guys. Are you going for the full unlock on Maul? Are you happy about the new structure? Are you unhappy about the new structure? I want to hear it all. Let it all encompass, let it percolate through your brains for a moment. Comment section down below. Smash that like button, otherwise I won't like you. All right? Do me a favor. Help a brother out. And I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.